Thanks, Ashish. I have a couple of questions on your presentation. Starting with, you mentioned that the total EV penetration in India is going to increase from 5% in 25 to around 65%. Yeah, no, that's a great point that you mentioned about fleets and municipalities. We, as a research house, also believe that fleets would be the first ones to electrify on a mass scale in India, and obviously municipalities would be the key drivers for e-buses, at least over here. What are your thoughts on two-wheelers, three-wheelers?
Yeah, I think for the last mile connectivity, and actually we are doing this for. Interestingly, the pollution control boards of India are interested in this two-wheeler and three-wheeler because they see that they are the ones who will reduce the congestion problems, and from the air pollution perspective, that is where the pollution control boards, and we are happy to share that in Maharashtra we are doing it for Bombay, Nagpur, and Pune. These are the three cities where we have interventions. But I would say that the two-wheeler and three-wheeler have a lot more barriers than the four-wheelers, and there is the business models need to come in very quickly with regards to who will be paying for what, and again whether it has to be docked or whether it has to be dockless. And we have seen that the Paris is one such example where we can have dockless two-wheelers, whereas Netherlands and other countries it is docked. So I think there are quite a few variants and unknowns as of now. I think by the end of, in another 2-3 months, we will have completed our study and we will give you some insights into successful business models.
Interesting.
But you know more than me because, and you're asking questions to us. So
that's the beauty of this.
Yeah, the moderation.
I'm the moderator and I can ask all the difficult questions. But one last question to you, Ashish. So on your presentation, you also talked about various countries and various states in India particularly, and you touched upon Maharashtra. So are there any particular states, are there any particular policies that you want to bring up, which are like, state of the art, or that you would like to see grow in India?
Yeah, I think it's an incentive structure which is differing from states to states. It's more about collaborations which need to come in. So I think you will see that and Dan will speak about it, and he has more insights when it comes to these states and what he's done at FCO. But I think it will be more of a collaborative way in which Karnataka has taken forward. The Department of Transport, the State Nodal Agency for Electricity, and the Electricity Department all have come together into and doing something. And also it requires the same thing on the OEM side. So if you look at the Tatas, they have a whole ecosystem of they have the Discom with them, they are the auto manufacturers, and they have Tata Power, Tata's BP Solar, which is into solar-based electricity, I think, and then they can come all together and then give a good solution to the public. I think it's collaborations which need to come up. Karnataka is a very good example.
Collaboration, public, private, and vertical integration in some sense as well. Okay, that's great. A question for you. You mentioned collaboration and knowledge sharing a lot. I mean, this is also has also come from the first speaker. So it seems like there is a lot to be done on this area. You mentioned that there was an Indian delegation that went to the city of Nottingham, the area of Nottingham, and you also talked about, EV, so lightweighting batteries and smart chargers and their applications. So were there any learnings from this delegation that you would like to pull forward over here? Let's say a couple of points.
Sure. Yes, I think what we learned was that despite the sometimes different context between the two countries, there's a lot of common ground. I think that was a really key message. The fact that we both have been putting together innovative action plans. I think they've been more at the state level. In India, we've got quite an innovative national policy in the UK called the Road to Zero. I think one of the conclusions was the value for us of having a clear policy framework, because then that sets the direction for industry and it helps to create that incentive. I think we also concluded that there was a lot of common ground on the technology side to try and make sure that whatever solutions are created are appropriate and they're affordable. So there was a lot of discussion on how you can adapt technologies, make them affordable, make them appropriate for the Indian context. And there's a lot of partnerships emerging now to look precisely at that on areas like three-wheelers and looking at appropriate charging infrastructure that might work in the Indian context. So I think there was a lot of common ground around the importance of policy, but the importance of creating the environment in which the private sector can do what it does best and innovate and find the space to operate. So I think we found a lot of common ground, but I think what we also recognized is we're at the beginning of a journey, and it's not that we've solved everything. And there will necessarily be a lot of innovation and working out what the right path is. But one thing I've learned from living in India for 6.5 years is that this is an amazing place to study innovation. I think jugaad is my favorite Hindi word probably, and to see that kind of that really inventive approach to solving problems. And we're really proud of the kind of innovation that we foster in the UK. And so I think, again, a learning coming out of our exchange was how much potential there is to work together to really craft, the next generation of solutions for e-mobility.
Right, thanks for your comments.
Thanks, Vedanta. I have one very quick question with you. I mean, you also talked about collaboration and cooperation a lot, which is a theme across this panel. So in India, when we're talking about electric vehicles, we actually are dealing with at least 5 different ministries and departments. And it's really difficult to get get all these departments working together. So can you share us with some of your experiences on how does this work in UK when you are having a target of phasing out of ICE vehicles by 2035? How does it work in the UK?
Sure, I can give the UK perspective on that. I think 2 points to make. One is that the transition is very much led from the top by the Prime Minister. And that, in a way, gets past the difficulty sometimes of coordinating so many different ministries. When the Prime Minister set a direction of travel, that has to happen. And he's the one who announced the 2035 phase-out date, which we've recently announced in the UK, or we're going to consult on in the UK. And the other thing that we have is a joint department that we've created called the Office for Low Emission Vehicles. And that is a focal point that coordinates the Department for Transport and the Department for Business, both of which have an interest in zero-emission vehicles. So by creating this new unit that represents both departments, I guess you can get around the difficulty sometimes of navigating so many departments.